You're listening to the Clean Comedy Podcast with your host, James Creviston.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Clean Comedy Podcast. It is now 2023, and we are going to be talking all kinds of stuff to all kinds of people. I have a great person for you. She is from China. She came to America. She learned all about us, how terrible we are as a country, and went to our colleges, and now she does stand-up. That's like the true American dream right there. Like, come to America, go to college, upset your parents, start doing stand-up. That's the real American dream, right? So please welcome it up for the very funny, the very talented Olivia Xing. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me on this.
Right? Isn't that the real American dream? Like, come here, make your parents upset.
I love your intro, and as a matter of fact, I don't think my mom fully understand what I'm doing. Didn't speak a word of English. I'm just like, yeah, I go up stage and talk. That like I introduce it as like a speech, like a competitive speech thing for her.
She like thinks you're giving TED Talks around LA and stuff.
Yeah. The little
you're like, I'm here to talk about China. I want you guys to know, like, she's going to talk about it and stuff.
That's not that far away from my comedy. That's basically how my comedy is. Let me talk about China and how stupid Americans are, but also how stupid Chinese are.
To be fair, most of the human species is kind of dumb. Let's be honest with ourselves. We all live in the world. We see what goes on. So you came to America. When did you come to America? How old were you? And how did that process start? And then how did you get into stand-up? Because that's a weird jump, obviously.
I came to America in 2016. Yeah, 16. And I graduated from high school, and I came for college, but it's women's college. Bryn Mawr College, that's in Philly. They gave me I was able to come here because they gave me like a full financial aid. And the women's college are the only colleges that provide financial aid for international students.
Wow.
So I came here, and my parents like, damn, first world country supporting a third world kid for higher education. I'm all in. But then I told them, can I major in theater? Shouldn't have sent her. And so I majored in literature and theater. Got it on stage for the first time, and then I was living in New York a little bit, and now I moved to LA for grad school at college.
And what are you doing? What kind of grad school are you doing? Are you doing theater as well?
I'm doing acting.
Acting. All right. Awesome. Well, this is the place to do it, right? LA is the place to go.
Yeah. My mom still doesn't know that yet. But I can now send her this podcast episode.
That's awesome. So, how much English did you know when you came to America? Was like very little, a lot? Like, how did that work?
I think sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah. I started learning English when I was 6. Like all the Chinese kids in my generation. Yeah, we have a good, decent education system.
Bravo, China. What are you doing? Come on, America. Step up your game. We should be learning other stuff.
No. Oh, gosh. You just got... what will make your children in this country to learn better is to have very strict examinations.
Yeah, exams. Yeah. Okay, like tests and stuff.
SAT not tough enough. Like you have to have every grade, and from middle school to high school. But that's
What's weird is, in America, at least when I was growing up, you didn't take a foreign language until you were in high school. So, like, you wouldn't learn another language. So, but if they started teaching in elementary school, like my youngest daughter's in middle school, she's taking, like, other language class. I think she's taking Spanish or French. And then my oldest daughter's taking French in high school, which is, like, the easiest one. She claims it's the easiest one. I don't know if it's actually the easiest one or not, but, French, it is what it is. So that's what she claims. She claims it's easy. I don't know.
A lot of you studied Latin, which is the most confusing thing to me. We're like, all the other countries are studying English because we actually have to use it because that's the language world speaks. But you guys studied Latin. Who's Latin? Nobody
Well,
speaks it.
Well, the reason is okay because my wife is an English major. She has a bachelor's and a master's in English. The reason why is because Latin makes up a large amount of the English language. It comes from Germanic stuff and Latin put together. So that's where our like weird bondage of English comes from. So that's why.
Then you should have studied German. Yeah. I'm like, German is closer to English than Latin.
Oh no, I agree. I'm with you. I took Spanish and I got C's and D's, so I can't talk to anybody about anything. But if I go like immerse myself, and I think that's probably what helped you too, is like, being immersed in a language. Like when I go to Mexico, is fine. So when you got to America, it's probably easier for you to kind of engage because you would have those moments of immersion where you had to try to speak English, right? And was that awkward? What was like that? What was like your first day in America? What's like the weirdest experience that you remember having when you first got here? What was the culture shock piece?
Culture. Oh, I learned so many slangs over the year. Like I remember the first thing I learned was like, I was texting my roommate about something, and then she said, "Yeah, let's play it by ear." I'm like, "What does that mean?" Play it by ear. Like I don't know. I was like, could I? Is it just really random? Could I just say play it by nose? That would be the same thing. I don't think neither my nose or ear move, but it means like oh see, right?
Yeah. Well, because there's all the like things like it's right on the tip of my tongue, right? That's like something that you think that you know. It's on the nose. That means it's like very like direct, and then yeah, play it by ear. There's all those kind of things that we do that like idioms in English that come up. That's what's actually great is like you get to experience the idioms like new, not having grown up with them. So then you could play with them a lot more on stage, which I'm assuming is what you did when you started stand up.
Exactly. Like one of my favorite jokes, it's about like Roe v. Wade, and my joke is like Americans say I'm up for it and I'm down to mean the same thing. And like, but maybe Roe v. Wade happened because they thought, yeah, we'll knock a woman down by knocking them up.
That's a good joke.
Sometimes like up and down means the same thing. Sometimes up and down means very different thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, that's why you have the lesson called no means no.
Yeah. I shouldn't laugh at that, but that's so funny because it's so true. Because, right, like bad can mean actually a bad thing, or bad can actually mean a good thing. Like, oh, that's bad, and you're like, oh, that's so good, or whatever. So that's the thing is like Americans use words very poorly. We're very bad at using words.
But the good thing is it's easier and it's more free. I do feel like I'm funnier, and I feel like I can allow myself to talk about more stuff which are a little bit tabooed in some other languages.
Right.
I think that's probably one of the reasons why English is like the international language.
Right. Well, because we say dumb stuff, like we can talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
anything.
So accessible to dumb people.
Right.
We lower the bar.
We did. That's what we did. We took the nice British way of speaking, and we like knocked it down a peg. We're like, we're not going to use those fancy U's for color. We're not doing that. We're ending with an O. Like, forget you guys.
I love American accent though. Like
Yeah.
American accent was like you actually you open your mouth, it sounds so like moist and it sounds better than British accent. I mean,
But that's funny though because like American people love like British and Australian accents. That's like a big thing. Like, oh, I love their accents.
Australian accent.
What's that?
Who loves Australian accent?
Are you kidding me? Like, there's like I think there's like a list of like people like hottest accents or whatever, and I believe like Australian is like number 1 or number 2 behind like British.
Speaking of accent, isn't it weird that we characterize some accent as hotness and sexy, but some accent just silly and like you make fun of the accent. For example, like Chinese accent is nobody says it's sexy. Like the French like a French person speaking English would be sexy. I'm like, they both sound wrong.
Yeah.
That's how I categorize it.
So I Googled it real quick, and it says British, Australian, and French were named the sexiest accents in the world and the most likely to make someone seem more attractive. So there you go, like scientific proof.
Whoa.
40% of people, 47% of the people said that British was the top one. 40% said British accent can make someone more attractive. Australian was 41% of people, and French was 37%. You know what's not on there? Southern American. Like, hey y'all, like that's not like one that like gets everybody.
Wait, but actually that's one of the accent for me.
That's one you like?
I really like it. It has so much like pizzazz, which is a word that I didn't know. I was like, pizza? Pizzazz? What does that word mean? But then I started using it.
That's awesome. So when you were learning English in China, was it like this? Like I know there's like a lot of online like tutor things like that. Is that what you did, or did you like? And it was like an American or a British person teaching, or who was it teaching you?
A Chinese person who
Another Chinese person was teaching you English?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because first of all, like we don't have that many foreigners in our country. It's
Right.
it's a very homogeneous country. So that's another reason why growing up we don't have any identity issue related to race and stuff. Although
Right.
there are like other ethnicity like Uyghur and other ethnicities. But no, just like we're all Chinese. And like the person who teaches us English is Chinese. She like learned English in college and she comes back to like elementary school and teach. And then I did have an American teacher who I think like there's a stereotype in China. It's like if you're a white person who failed in America, just come to China and like you will be treated like this god, this tall shining god who speaks English. And
I need to go to China. I'm doing a terrible job in America. I should go over there and be better.
Hey, maybe. No, if you speak a good English, that means like you can make money by doing like from international trading to teaching English. So I was there's American who came to Qingdao, which is my hometown, and my mom teaches Chinese to foreigners, and that's why she found this guy to teach me like real American accent in English.
Right.
And that's how I got my name Olivia. It was from a list of popular names in America.
Oh, that's
what's another name that was on the list?
Rachel.
Karen.
Karen, yeah, so glad you didn't get that one. Oh my gosh.
Days.
I hope you have a joke about that because that is crazy. Like, no.
Yeah. I remember Olivia was like top second name.
Was Karen number one?
It was there's like just like American name like Claudia or Mary. It's like things like
I think Olivia fits. Like, what's your Chinese name? Like, is it possible for me to like say it, or am I going to butcher it terribly?
You're probably gonna butcher it. It's Xing Xi Xuan with so it starts with that. I have a whole joke about it because like Chinese name makes my initials XXX. It spells XINXIXUAN. And so like first of all, American can't pronounce X. Like we pronounce it as Xing Xi Xuan, but usually people would butcher it and say like Xing Xi Xuan. But also like I didn't know XXX means porn.
That's so good. There's so many good pieces. Like, see, that's what's the great about like coming and translating things to that. Now, a weird question for you. Are you the only child in your family, or is it like the multiple children? Because I know there was like the rule, right, for a while.
Yes, and I'm the only generation. I am the generation of one child policy.
Wow.
Because they right now they are promoting you to have children, and
Right.
to be very specific, they're promoting you to have 3 children. It used to be 2, and then so they loosened the policy I don't remember, but like then they're like, oh, we don't have enough like people for military and other workforce, but our whole economy is based on millions of workforce, cheap workforce. So they're like, we need to ask people to make babies. That's the reason. That's actually a reason why like feminism is like not. It's frowned upon. Like you should not talk about it in China
Right.
because if you're too feminist, you don't want to make babies. You don't want to stay at home, mom.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of things in China are just like, think about it. It's so bizarre and so like
China feels like 1940s, 1950s America, where it was like you stay home, you're a woman, this is your job, this is what you do. Like you take care of kids, you have babies, right?
it's right now it's almost like the state media, it's almost like that's how it looks like. It's crazy because think about it, like communism is like based on equality. Like and
Right.
like I remember like growing up, I remember like we were taught that Mao specifically say like women also hold half of the sky. So actually like when America you like when America was like sexist, China was pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Now it's so funny. My friend and I, it's like not on, it's like on internet. We call this phenomenon of the party. We call it like driving backwards on the highway. That's how
Oh,
we're pulling out our country. So like, just, it's dangerous driving backwards on the highway when everyone else is pushing humanitarianism and feminism. I don't know. It's
were those ideas hard for you to get your head around when you moved to America? Was like some of the things that Americans perceive as normal or perceive as like just kind of like an everyday thing? Was that hard for you to get around, like feminism maybe? Like and there are like I know there are like varying degrees of feminism, so like I understand that portion of it, but like that a weird concept for you?
I I I think it's not the concept is not weird, but it's how you implement those concepts into your day-to-day life is shocking to me. Like the first thing is that I was introduced to birth control in America, and like I know like family planning is like free. Like you don't need it with like even you don't need a health insurance to get the pill or other like birth control method. I was like, wow, like that's but I do feel like, oh, like that's a thing that you could just walk into your clinic and get because it's not the
Right.
case in China. Um and then there's it's weird. And then abortion, it's not so often like in America. Because in China, when they were implementing one child policy, they were like pushing abortion and not providing like healthier option like birth control pill. Just like that was shocking. And then there's pronoun, which started, I think, around the time when I arrived in America. That's like another level, like you're actually revising your language to make it more even more
Confusing.
like confusing, even more confusing, but also I guess easier, so nobody has to speak grammatically correctly anymore.
There's so many of them. Like I just saw something about San Francisco providing aid to people, but there's 97 pronouns to choose from, and I'm like, how? How do I know what they mean or what they? I don't like. I feel bad because it's like I'm trying to help you with your identity, but I also don't know what the heck we're talking about. We're not on the same page about what words you're using.
We all know that Americans only pronounce me, just
Yeah, that's
me.
true.
um Yeah.
That is 100% correct. It is just me. Like I only care about me. I care about me and my thing. I think it's so interesting. I always because I have two daughters. So for me, like that policy would have been very difficult. Like, right? I love my daughters. I wouldn't have wanted to have to decide or whatever and stuff like that. Do your parents ever like say anything to you about that? Like, do they ever give you like, I wish we had a boy or something like that? Like,
No, I grew up in the city. I would say I'm one of the very fortunate girls who benefit from this policy, who's like, because there's no other child, they poured all the resources to me, which is the reason why I'm here. I feel very privileged in that way. But there are other girls who definitely did not benefit from
right.
this policy. It sort of really depends on whether you were born in the city or in a more rural area. I've heard a horrible story, but I like personally, I know my great grandparents were like disappointed.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but my dad loves a girl, and my mom very happy too. Um,
Girls are the best. Like being a girl dad, having two girls, like I couldn't. It's like the best. Like they're amazing. So,
they love you probably. You're like a fun dad.
oh yeah, I want to. Like I have daddy daughter day every Thursday with them. Like I spend time with them. I want them to know like you're important to me. Like you're my world. Like I do everything for you. So,
Wow, that is so nice. Speaking of that, it actually why I started comedy is probably because that my dad passed away and I was like depressed for a while and I was watching a lot of stand up um and I just like started doing comedy. My dad loved comedy, like but the genre that like comedy in China, we have a sort of thing, that traditional art form that's similar to stand-up comedy, but it's like set material and you can do other people's material. It's called it's like a one person, it's a two people um comedy, but also it's just talking.
is it like vaudeville, like where like one person's a straight man and one person's a funny man, like Abbott and
Oh,
Costello or something
yeah,
like that?
it's
Okay,
almost like that. Yeah. Sometimes it's just one person telling a story, but the story usually it's recycled.
gotcha.
It's not like your original material. Yeah,
That's so
my dad
interesting.
loved that, and I started doing comedy.
Is it called Shang Shang?
Yes, but
Did I do it right?
you definitely butchered the sound.
How do
um,
I say it right? How do I say it right?
it's 相声,
Shang Shang?
close enough.
Oh, that's where they're like, "Whew, all right, good job, white guy. Keep going. That's
Yeah,
awesome. And is it still practiced there? Like, still practiced a lot there?
it is practiced. It's getting more popular, and actually, but it's just such an old form. I'm not sure how many young people listen to it, but I think it's getting popular with the push of there was for a while this the party is trying to push traditional art form in the
Right.
country. And but also I think it's competing with stand-up comedy right now because stand-up comedy started getting popular in China like about 5 years ago.
Now, what was the first stand-up comedy that you saw in America? Like, who was the one that kind of inspired you to start doing stand-up
Oh
here?
my God. Uh, okay. I don't
I
think
can't wait for this.
he's not American. He's Canadian. He's
Okay.
Russell Peter.
Oh, I love Russell Peters. Everybody loves Russell Peters. That's awesome.
Peter is probably one of the most popular comedian in China. And I think it's because he does a lot of very universally like racial stereotype jokes.
Yeah.
And hey, he's Canadian. We definitely like a Canadian better than American.
Right.
Throughout history, we love Canadians.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's one of the like one of my favorites as well that I like to watch and stuff whenever I'm like trying to think of like family bits or whatever because he talks about his dad, he talks about his kids, stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff. He's always one of my favorites. And then is there like a female comedian that inspired you or was it just Russell Peters?
no. So I wouldn't say like I don't think he's like my hero.
Right,
Uh,
right.
but he's definitely the first comedian I watched. And then I remember I remember when Ali Wong's special came out. That was very special to me. I haven't gotten into stand-up comedy yet, but his clip just got so popular on WeChat, which is our like social media platform, and everyone's like retweeting it. And my favorite bit is is her talking about the old, like, wait, black don't crack, Asian don't die. And
Yeah.
I remember laughing so hard. But at that point, I haven't been in touch with Asian stereotype in America yet. Like as I said, like in China, we're all Chinese. We don't know Asian don't die.
Right.
We have various lists of longevity in China.
Wait, what's that mean? What is various list of longevity? Is like you look young for like 50 years and then all of a sudden you look old or something, or
No,
you know
no,
the black
like
don't
everyone died differently at different. I didn't know that in America Asians don't die. I'm
Well,
kidding. Yeah.
do you ever have, because I know this is like a thing, especially that white people do, is like, do you ever have people ask you if you're Japanese or some other Asian ethnicity? Like, do you have that happen a lot?
Yeah. For some reason, I feel a little bit flattered for a while to be to be seen as like Japanese or Korean. For like when I was a kid, I was like they're like cooler. But I think that was the thing when you watched like K-drama or anime.
Right.
We all probably all comedian. I don't know whether you have this. We all have a period of time where you're a little bit ashamed of your real identity. Um, Unless you're a white guy, I guess. No, I'm kidding.
Now I'm ashamed. Now I'm ashamed of being a
Now
white guy. But like in the beginning, not I wasn't like, but now I'm
yeah.
always ashamed. Yeah.
No, but I remember when I first came to America, because I know like Chinese aren't the coolest. Like I feel like you guys associate Japanese and Koreans with like cooler, more like they seem to be more like just richer country. Um, so yeah, I've gotten that. Like you look more Japanese or Korean, or like you speak better English. You're probably not Chinese.
I had a friend that was Korean, and he like I guess there's like a tier list of like Asians like by like who each group dislikes more than the other, and I was like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys are like racist to each other. Like that's not okay. Like what's
Oh,
going on there?
definitely.
I was like,
We like
wow.
that's the thing. Like Chinese and Korean hate Japanese because they're Nazi. But then Japanese think they're better than anyone else in the world. Because they build faster train. But now we're catching up. We have the fastest train. Haha. With our child labor. Built train. But you should have known that Chinese are good at building trains. Um, we build your whole railroad system.
No, that's true. Mostly on the West Coast, though. Just so everyone's aware, on the West Coast, if you know the history of California, the history of expanding west, Chinese labor was used on that, and they were not treated well at all. Like they were treated actually worse than most slaves were, and it's a whole thing. So if you ever want to read that, I have a bachelor's and master's in history, American history. So
Whoa,
like
really?
that's like my like I every time I know that I'm always like, wait, are we gonna give some like money to them too? Like, 'cause they help build San Francisco. Like Chinese
Yeah.
help build a large portion of San Francisco. So it's really interesting. I have a lot of respect for like everyone around the world because everyone brings something like unique to America, like Chinese food, Chinatown, like building most of the American Northwest and a lot of the Southwest too. So there's a lot of stuff there. And then the only thing, this is weird, the only two things that I know about Korea besides K-pop, obviously, is kimchi and right. I eat kimchi. I love kimchi, and and like K-pop. Those are like the two things I know about Korea. Like I don't know anything else. And then Japanese, we assume like robots, fast trains, future, like all that stuff. Like they're
Yeah,
like
and I like your podcast's name. It's
Mhm.
CCP. And when I log in, Zoom says CCP with Olivia Xing. And that was Scariest thing.
It was not. I'm not the Chinese Communist Party. I promise you that. I'm all like dip out, and then like
Damn.
someone will come up. What's the guy's?
Like,
What is? Yeah, what's the leader's name over there? Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. See.
You just pull this off, and I'm like, it's me. Like,
Well, you guys have the same body build.
we both look like Winnie the Pooh. Wait,
Yes.
I said it. She didn't say it. I said it. So if you come for me. You don't come for her.
Thank you.
I said it. I said it. I'll tell you where I live. China. I don't care. Not scared.
Oh gosh, but I love CCP. Just for the record, this podcast and the party.
So what is your goal? I know that you just filmed a stand-up special that you may or may not release. You're trying to decide about that. But what are your goals for 2023? What are the things that you really want to do? Now, also, question, and this is going to be a weird, stupid white guy question, just so you know. We should do like a thing every week, like weird, stupid white guy questions to a Chinese.
We're gonna start another podcast called Legally Racist.
Well, like, okay, so there's regular American New Year, right, on January 1st, and then there's Chinese New Year, which is usually later on, like February or March or something, right? Isn't that correct? Am I right?
Yeah, because it's based on lunar calendar. It's not.
Yeah. It's like because it moves, right? So it could be at different times of year. So do you also do, like, in America we do like New Year's resolutions? Do you do that in China as well, or is that not something that you really do? See, I'm asking a stupid white guy question. This is what it is.
We do New Year resolution on the New Year. We don't, because we also function with Christian calendar, but on the Chinese New Year, a thing that we do is that we don't give each other a present. We
Red
give
envelope.
Straight money, just like straight up money, just cash.
Let's do that, America. Let's do that.
Yeah, America, you should have done that. Like, gifts. Who gives gifts? Money. It's just so versatile. You can use it to buy anything you want.
Well, what's so funny is it's taboo, like at Christmas time, if you ask for money instead of a gift, right? Like that's a taboo thing in America.
It's so funny to me how money is, like, you don't talk about money. You talk, it's you get very uncomfortable with money. It's so weird because you're the most capitalist country. Like, why is that?
It's the American way. Like, you don't ask anyone how much they make. You don't ask about like that. You don't ask about their finances. Like, it's a real taboo thing. I know.
Then what do you talk about in family reunion? That's all we talk about. How much?
Oh no, you talk smack about the rest of your family that you don't like. That's what you do.
Okay.
You're like Bob. He's an alcoholic again. You know, like that.
Okay. You talk about like whoever's not on the table, how much money they make a month. Okay.
Only if they're poor. Like, only you like roast with the poor. Like, I can't believe he still living with his mom and dad. Like, you do that kind of stuff. Like, that's what you do, right? So
we probably because we love math. We just gotta be very accurate. The number, like $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. Yeah. No. So yeah. In New Year, I would get, yeah. You know the red envelope thing.
Yeah.
In the red envelope, there's like cash, but it's usually just like the elder, my grandparents or like my mom, my uncle who gave to the younger kids.
Yeah. Because I used to watch Fresh Off the Boat. I don't know if you ever saw that show, but
I never saw that show.
It's a great show, but I believe they're Korean, not Chinese, if I remember right. But I have to double check. I can't remember. But anyway, so like they did red envelope. Maybe they are Chinese because I think it's only a Chinese thing, right? For the red envelope thing.
I think it's only but the thing is, there's Chinese like all over the Asian. They're like Chinese Malaysian. There's like Chinese in Singapore. That's like the crazy rich Asian. They're like
right.
So maybe there are other similar traditions.
Interesting. Well, what did you make? Are you making 2023 resolutions? Like, what do you want to accomplish in 2023? Because this is coming out 2023. What are your resolutions for 2023? Or have you not even thought of them?
I would like to make my special better because this time it's like a smaller size. I would like to tour it to other cities. And probably hopefully drop it on YouTube. But I'm debating on it because there's some like more sensitive topics. But I want to write more materials about like like what we said in the beginning about how stupid Chinese and American both are, and maybe we could learn from each other's mistake.
Yeah.
That's like that thing because I'm like concerned about the declining democracy in America, which we look up to, and then there's like the rising nationalism in those countries. I would love to do more stand-up comedy because I moved to LA just last year. I
Wow.
I didn't know a lot of the comedy scene here, so I feel like I just had one foot in the door. Hopefully, I will do another show with you. That's my New Year resolution. And another show is James.
For sure. Olivia is hilarious. If you guys have, do you have clips of your stand up on YouTube or on the internet or anything?
Yeah, I have there's a clip on YouTube. It's my 8-minute set. It's called "Did China Start COVID?" And you'll find out if we started COVID. If you go watch that clip.
That's a good one. Well, Olivia, where can people find you? Where can they find their stand-up? You want to shout out all your social medias and all that stuff so people can follow you and check out your stand-up?
My Instagram handle is Olivia Crossing. And it's Crossing because that's my last name. Xing, but Crossing. Yeah. So check out my Instagram and I'll post clips from time to time. That's my main thing. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you everybody for checking out the podcast today. Go follow Olivia. Go check out her stand-up. Hopefully you made some New Year's resolutions. You can make both regular New Year's and Chinese New Year's resolutions. Even if you don't get a red envelope, you can still do that. So thank you all for checking out the podcast. Thank you all for following us and watching. And have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.